Welcome to Women, Men, and Relationships. I'm JJ Flazane.
And I am Doug Sandler.
And we're on vacation.
That was the clinking of the wine glasses, in case you didn't recognize that all familiar sound.
We are currently in Cabo, Mexico, Baja, Sud, California Sud, which means south.
Wow. Is that Spanish for Sud?
South.
Sud is Spanish for south. Wait.
Yes.
All right, so one thing I don't know is pretty much any Spanish.
You can't even remember to say gracias.
I did say gracias at least once.
In 4 days.
I'm working really hard at it.
You were working really hard.
I am. I'm working hard. I'm first trying to. The sun was in my eyes. I can't. It was bad.
So we did promise you we would report back with The Enlightened Sex by David Deida, which we will next week. Before we get to that,
we've been too busy having sex, though. Sorry, I apologize. Sorry about that.
So we thought that we'd bring you a show about. Let's see, what's today's topic going to be?
Oh, how about wonderful beaches? How about bringing up? How about talking about old relationships with your current relationships? Because we've done a lot of that this week.
Well, I actually wanted to address the whole shell thing.
Oh, that's a good issue. You brought that up in the shower today. Very good.
And in the pool.
And in the pool. That's right. Well, I didn't actually have a visual until we were in the shower and we were talking about it. So that's exactly when it came to. Sometimes your best ideas come to you in the shower and sometimes not. But today, some good ideas came to us in the shower.
So we are each about 6 months out from our marriages that decided to quit.
We're more than that. We're actually 6 months on April 8th. So it's almost November.
Okay, so we're almost 7 months.
7 months.
We're almost 7 months out.
Yes.
And
still so many raw emotions, too.
Well, I had a breakthrough today.
Breakthrough or breakdown? Which one was it?
You have to break down before you can break through.
Okay, I got it. You've been doing that quite nicely, all of those things.
Thank you.
And I'm here for you. You know that.
So I'm bringing this up because last week we talked about the twilight zone of divorce, and it continues. And for those of you that have been through this, maybe you've experienced the same thing. And for those of you who have been divorced, maybe you didn't. And maybe some of the things that we're sharing hit home and some of them don't. And maybe some of this stuff would be actually really beneficial for you to experience in this way. So I knew that I had some emotions to come up. Let's paint the picture first, though. It's about that time where my emotions and hormones are heightened. Today is actually the full moon. It is Wednesday, October 24th, and this is a very, very powerful full moon, and it's a Scorpio full moon. We are moving into Scorpio. Scorpio is about really rebirth and having things sort of burn to the ground and the phoenix rising from the ashes.
And you are maybe 24, possibly 48 hours away from your period also.
That's what I just said about the hormones and menstruation.
Oh, I missed that one.
You missed that one.
I was drinking wine.
That was code.
I was drinking wine, sorry.
Right, that was code for my hormones are also high.
You women.
Sorry, I just try to do it in a nice way.
Women speak in this whole different language. Hola, chica. I don't know. It's like Spanish. Like, God, women, just speak English. Men would understand you so much better.
Okay, I apologize to you, men, and Doug just, let you know. So, yes, we have all this sort of heightened stuff, and we...
Hold on, I just have a question before you get there. What were the words again that you used so I know that will be where I'm supposed to be focused in the future? Because I missed it completely, and I was listening to you. I thought it was
hormones.
I was drinking.
My hormones are, I don't even know what I said. I just talked. I
Okay,
said, it's at
okay.
that time where emotions are high, the hormones are shifting.
Okay.
That's what I think. That's what I said.
Could there possibly be some women in our listening audience that may not even realize what you're talking about?
Possibly, I don't know.
Okay. Well, how about if we just speak a little bit more clearly?
Well, okay. Doug, I will speak a little bit more clearly for those of you that are a little more direct and not quite as subtle, can't read between the lines kind of thing.
I need directness. I need people just to tell me what they're feeling and how they're feeling it. That would be great. I speak in emotions, okay? I don't speak in words.
Okay, baby. All right. So yes, so here's the picture of all this stuff,
Yeah.
heightened full moon, blah, blah, blah.
I love you, JJ, by the way.
I love you too, baby. So I'm taking a nap, or we're trying to take a nap. Doug's doing very good. He gets an A++ on
I
afternoon
am-
siesta napping.
An excellent napper. I did not realize until this vacation exactly how
Holy shit, you're a good napper.
I can sleep on command, actually.
Yeah. And I want to sleep, and I'm not. I'm sleeping for like 5-10 minutes, and I'm not sleeping. And I'm sleeping at the night just fine. Many hours of sleep, all good. It's just I want to sort of take it down another level, and I'm not overly drinking. We're not drinking a lot. We're drinking more than normal, but we're on a all-inclusive vacation where you could drink every 5
Meal.
minutes if you
Yeah.
wanted to. So we're not doing that, and I'm sure I could make myself pass out if I wanted to, but I'm not.
Why would you want that's
Well,
like,
I'm just saying if I want to
Yeah,
knock myself
yeah.
out, I'm not doing that. I don't do
You're not
any kind of
medicating.
sleep medication or anything like that. So I'm not sleeping and like as well as I'd like to in my naps. And I'm today laying there thinking there's got to be some emotion. And I'm checking in and I am not numbing. There's no distraction. I'm laying there just like checking in with myself and I'm like, okay, something has to come up. I feel like some emotions got to be there and nothing's coming. The perfect time, laying in bed, it's dark, no one else is here, privacy, all good. But no, we go outside to go to the pool, and we're in the middle of the fucking pool, and what happens?
Waterworks.
I cry.
I'm like, what happened? What did I say something? What's going
No,
on?
I had a memory,
No, I got it.
and
I
then
got
the
it.
memory triggered a story, and the
Yeah.
memory was, I've done some of these vacations with my husband before, and it brought up I know you said I love you and something very nice about maybe the future and I just said, and we've been talking about this all week, well let's just wait and see. We've had some very serious conversations
Yeah.
about our relationship this whole week and like more than normal, and we've talked about what's going on and how can you plan, how can you know, especially after a relationship that you tried so hard and thought for sure was never going to ends, and now again it's like the fucking Twilight Zone of I want to believe you, I want to trust this, and a lot of me does, but there's a part of me that doesn't because I don't know. I thought I knew before, and now all of a sudden I don't know.
Right. So now you can't even trust yourself because it's like, oh my gosh, well, wait a minute. I thought the last one was forever. And if he's saying forever or he's saying, I want to dump into this big commitment thing here, or just hang out here, or I want to be with you for a long time, and it scares you, and I know it. It would scare anybody. I know that. I just felt like we were in a good. I felt like and I know that I'm in a safe spot. I just felt like I just want to tell you how I feel. I want to share with you how amazing our relationship is, and how comfortable I am with it.
And I really appreciate that you understand that my emotional reactions are not about you or about us.
Oh, 100%. I didn't take any offense to you crying when I said I love you forever.
Well, I just said, I said, give it a year. And you said, what is up with this time thing? And
Right. What's up with the time?
Well, the time thing is that somebody else said that they'd love me forever and they decided not to, and I'm going to cry again. So here I am. I'm in the middle of the pool, and Doug's holding me, and I'm a waterworks bawling, like sniffling mess in the middle of the pool. Thank God, only a handful of people here know who I am, meaning I'm teaching fitness classes. So I have today was 12 women.
Yeah, 10 or 12 people, yeah.
In the class, and I don't even know if any of them were around when this was
No,
happening. So nobody's
no.
looking at me. Nobody
And
cares.
nobody's-
But I'm frustrated because now here I am wanting to bawl my eyes out and like ugly cry, and I'm in the middle of the public pool with kids and adults, and no Kleenex, and wet and a little cold, and of course it's the inappropriate time, but at least it happened. And so I got out of the pool after crying for a little bit, went down to the bathroom, cry a little more, came back, cry a little more, and we're talking about our past relationships, or I am more. And I realized, because Doug was holding me and allowing me to be sad, that a lot of my relationship was spent protecting and not sharing my feelings because it would trigger my husband. And that's just the fact. I was sort of not in a way allowed, not that he ever said that, but not allowed to feel negative feelings, like sad, because he'd take it personally as if it was his fault and he'd be triggered. And that's really sad for both of us, because I never felt, and I know that's what he wanted too. He wanted to feel nurtured. He wanted to feel taken care of, but there was so many blocks in between being able to do that for each other. And here's Doug holding me and allowing me to cry, and I'm feeling safe. And I said in the shower, I think what's happening is that I've built up sort of walls over time of having to take care of myself and not really trusting anyone else to, like, I feel like I can surrender to God or to Source and maybe a few other, like very few other people on the planet. But I've never in a relationship actually ever since maybe college have I felt like I could actually surrender in a relationship completely. And I think that that's what's happening right now, which is perfect for a Scorpio moon of breaking and releasing and busting through and rebirthing. I'm allowing the walls to come down of protection, not the walls of, and not defensiveness. Like, I don't feel like I've ever been defensive, and I feel like I can receive, and I feel like my heart is open. I just think I have this level of lack of trust, and I've never had the space to be held like you have been doing.
I think one of the things I said that was in the pool, and it's from probably some sappy movie like Ryan's Song or something really long old ago. You know, it's much better to have loved and have lost than to never have loved at all. And I feel like the only way that I know how to enter a relationship is wide open. You know, yes, I did get my heart broken in my last marriage, and it was horrible. I mean, it was horrible. But why would I, in my opinion, want to ever keep those feelings away? So I wanted to be able to give you. I want to be able to give you the space to be able to tell me exactly how you feel, because I was not given that in my last relationship. I never had the ability to, I could share my feelings, but I never really understood what was on the other side. There was always this processing thing, and there's always this lack of communication and the challenges of that. It's like, okay, well, this is how I feel. I want to share with you how I feel. I want you to be able to open up as much as you possibly can. And I know that you're not blaming me for what happened in your last relationship, and I know you're not. You can talk about your last relationship. It gives me some insight to you when you're able to talk about it. So I think as those that are in our community that are listening to this, I mean, I'd love to be able to share, JJ. I'd love to be able to share with them. What are are there some symptoms of someone that's closed off to sharing their real feelings? Are there some? I mean, I'd love to be able to share a lesson rather than just a story here.
I don't know. It just happened to me, so other than this whole thing is new, right, for both of us. I didn't foresee me having the need to keep talking about all of this with you. I really appreciate that we both can share when things come up about our last relationships, because we were with those people for a long time. Mm-hmm. And so it's not going to be 6 months, whatever, and it's done and forget. Who are they, right?
Right.
And so to not get triggered, to like be secure enough in our own connection to
right.
not need me to keep it to myself or go to somebody else.
Right. And so I mean, I guess one of the, as you're talking, the thing that's coming up for me is we're involved in another serious relationship, and I'm sure that many in our community have had relationships that have happened. You've broken up and now you're involved with someone else. I think it's fair to be able to have a conversation about that other relationship. I think that if it's something that you feel, you should be able to say it. I think that too many times in relationships, when you move on to the next one, it's like, well, why are you comparing me, or I don't think it's a comparison. I just think that your feelings are your feelings. You need to be able to share them with whomever your new partner is. And if they're not willing to go there with you, I'm not sure that is the right person for you then.
Well, I know it's a big faux pas in dating that you really shouldn't talk about your last relationship when you're dating.
I hear that. But beyond the dating thing. We're talking real feelings now. I mean,
Right.
You can't just sweep them under the rug. And you're having dinner with someone on one of your first or second dates with them. Yeah, I don't think you should take a trip down memory lane about your old relationships. I think you need to be sensitive to who this person is. The baggage that you're bringing, the stuff that you're bringing, the memories that you're bringing to your new relationship don't have to affect how you treat this person. I think that you have to be true to yourself, but don't wallow in the shit that your ex-partner, made you deal with in your relationship on your first couple of dates. I think give it some time, but I don't feel like you should should have to avoid that when you're in the relationship.
Thinking about lessons, and I agree with you, and we're also in very similar places, which makes this really good in many ways. It makes it scary as well at the same time, right? So like when I think you said to me, like you loved me, and there's something else you said, and I said, well, let's see what happens in a year. Because again, there was someone else who loved me and wanted to spend their life with me, and after a couple years, that changed. So I would also forewarn you, if you're listening to this, don't avoid a relationship because of the fear that you have from a past relationship that failed. If you are someone that likes to share your heart, share your heart. Share your heart openly. I heard what you said, and I did not take it as he told me he loved me, and that was going to be forever, and you're telling me those same words, so fuck you. I mean, that wasn't, in a way, that wasn't emotionally what you meant. I knew that was not what you meant at all. You have to be, if you're on the receiving side of that, you have to be patient. You have to be patient. You have to understand that your partner, if they're just getting out of a significant relationship, especially if they're getting out of a marriage, and in your case, a marriage of many years, and a relationship of 12 years, I have to be forgiving of the fact that it's going to take time. So patience is all you have. Don't demand, if you're someone that feels like you need to have this relationship in order to make this you have to put that aside. You have to be good with yourself. And asking your partner, well, this is forever. And if they say, well, my last partner said that too, and that didn't really last, and I don't know. It's their fear. They're not saying that to you. They're saying that about themselves, actually. So some cues about, if I had to pick out some sort of things that I see in other people or lessons or people that I think people avoid, because I know that this wasn't going to be even though I had a longer processing time during the last year and a half, 2 years of knowing this was kind of coming or thinking it might come, it still doesn't make living it or moving through it easier or faster. Mm-hmm. And I think so many times the reason why people didn't really believe in our relationship, and we don't know where things are going. We've discussed that we know this is where we are today, and we hope it's tomorrow, and we're just going to take it day by day. But because we're not going to make any claims to anything that we don't know, I think I've heard it takes about a year to get over a divorce and a breakup, especially when you've been with someone for a long time. And so, all this stuff is like, it's in process mode. And so one of the things I would say for people that rebound, because I know a lot of people think that's exactly what we did, and maybe that is what we did, but who knows, this rebound won't last forever. Part of a rebound is a denial. It's a hiding. And I don't think we're hiding. I think we're processing. I know I'm processing. I mean,
yeah.
If I was in denial and not talking about it, or I don't know, I'm almost looking for the pain, not in a
you're leaning into the punch.
I'm leaning into it. I'm not trying to create it. I'm just checking in regularly to see what's there. And when I do things that I've done before with him and I do them with you, I can't help but either some things, like when you first moved in, minus, like I told you in this, like 2 weeks ago we had this conversation, there were just a few little things, and they were dumb little house things. But besides that, I had no guilt. There was nothing. I was getting more than I had gotten in a long time. So there was no imbalance of, oh boy, I missed this, and oh, I wish I got this, and you're not doing this for me, or whatever. Like it was all very, very, very positive. And not that this experience isn't also very, very positive, but it still triggers those fun times outside of the house of memories of travel or vacation or plans, of the best of the times that make you question, when someone else says that they love you, does that mean is it real? Is it going to change? Am I waiting for the other shoe to drop? What's going to, I believed him and it changed. So I want to believe you. And I do believe you.
Of course.
And normal relationships, this is why I've studied this shit for so long, because it is part of how you choose your partners to heal the wounds of your past. So there's the honeymoon phase, which we're still in. Then there's coming out of the honeymoon phase, and some of your shit gets, to the surface, and you get triggered more often, or, your wounds get exposed and behaviors start to change. But that's a time to, again, lean in and figure it out and fix it and heal it. Not avoid it and let it fester, grow, and then split you up. And, while I am not wanting anything to change in this moment of where everything is, there is no going back. There's only moving forward. I would love an apology for the pain and for the dragging it out for, whatever. But I also understand and have compassion that everybody thinks they did the best they could. Everyone thinks they tried really hard. It's a matter of perspective. But if you're going through a divorce, or you even if you're human, check in. You have emotions. And if you're not feeling some of the typical emotions that happen, pain, grief, sadness, lack of trust, disillusionment, like I said, the twilight zone of this feels weird. Those are normal feelings. And I think so many people, this is when you gain weight because you eat too much because you're avoiding your feelings. You drink, you smoke, you have too much sex, you're out there having such a great time to avoid, and have a great time. I have nothing wrong with that. But if you're not checking in to see, Am I releasing the pain? Am I growing through this? Am I letting it go? Like, I think it was a very positive aha that I had tonight in the shower about recognizing over the years I wasn't allowed to have an emotion. I wasn't allowed to feel negative feelings because it would trigger him. And I didn't blame him for that, like in a bad way. That's his wounds. But because of that, I told myself, you're not allowed to be, you don't have anyone to hold you. You have no one to hold you while you break down and cry. And because other than maybe some friends or, some therapists or close people, Lisa Thomas, whatever. So the shell really made a lot of sense. And so I think that, just like getting into a relationship in the process of discovery, transitioning relationships, there's a process of discovery.
I think you need to be, again, if you're the one stepping into the relationship with someone that is just getting out of the relationship, you need to give them the space and the time to heal. You also need to give them the ability to have second thoughts, not about your relationship or even about their relationship, but about their own feelings. I think that one of the things that happens, JJ, is that there's days where you are extremely confident in your decision, to end your marriage, and there are days where I know that you probably wish that you worked harder at it. And I can't imagine anybody ever possibly working harder at their relationship than you have.
I don't really know how I would have worked harder.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So it takes two to make the relationship work. And I don't know that there's anything else that you could have done. I think that everybody needs to be ultra sensitive to your partner's feelings, especially if they were involved in another relationship. And oftentimes, I think the people that are listening to this are pretty mature. I mean, these aren't people, for the most part, you're not going to be a teenager and listening to this. So you're somebody that has had other relationships. You know what it's like to have a breakup. It sucks to have a breakup. I think that the next partner that you find, if they're not willing to help you heal, although healing is a very solo practice, you still need support. So you need to have somebody. If you're not finding those that person that's able to work with you to help you heal, maybe that's just a temporary relationship, because I really do feel like you need somebody that can understand your feelings and share it with you.
Well, you have life experience in your favor because you've been through this now more than one time, and although they were much different scenarios and much different feelings, and so you have life experience. And I know a lot of you are younger, so I shout out to some of the listeners who've been reaching out recently, who felt like we could speak to them and in their 20s. And because of law of attraction, I do love my millennials and younger because you guys are fast movers and you understand change, and a lot of you are more conscious. So I love that. So I appreciate that you're tuning in. And if you are in your 20s, I knew the fuck I was when I was 20.
I was getting married.
You were getting married at 24.
I know.
And still didn't know
so,
who the fuck you were.
No, I was way too young.
And at 21, I was trying to chase my boss down to nail him into a relationship, even though I was always the other woman, for like 2.5 years when all of my friends thought I was crazy and wouldn't support me because they said, you're never going to get what you want from him, and let it go. And it wasn't necessarily the best situation, but I journaled. And honestly, while I would never wish the situation upon anybody else, it wasn't like abusive physically or anything, but I'd gone from probably the healthiest relationship ever to the unhealthiest relationship ever. And in that 2.5 year period, I probably filled out 4 journals. And if I went back right now and read some of it, I can tell you that on probably every 4th page, it would say, please God, let me learn this lesson and let it be over. I knew back then that it wasn't going to be forever. He wasn't the guy, but for some reason, I had to learn some lessons, and they were hard lessons to learn, but a lot of it came out of that 2.5 years. It wasn't for nothing. I came out of on the other side, a changed person who understood clearly. He was 8 years older than me. I understood clearly at the end that it was not about me. His reason to not want to be with me had nothing to do with me, except that he felt intimidated and that I was too good for him and that he'd never live up and he'd never be able to keep up. So I learned that lesson in 2.5 years. So no matter what you're going through in your relationship, there's a lesson in it. Journal, get some support, have whether it be therapy or coaching. Some of you have reached out to me recently about some coaching. So find whoever you trust to work your stuff out, read a little bit, and just know that this is all a process. And even though when people know a lot of stuff, I know a lot of stuff. I'm fucking smart. I know a lot of stuff.
You are smart.
And I'm not immune. And not that anyone, this is life. This is emotions. You're emotional. You have feelings, happiness, sad. I mean, of course, I'm still sad. That's what this really is about. It's just the sadness. And it's going to take a little while for all of the sadness, all the investment of all those years and all of those thoughts about future things and all that stuff. The investment, I'm sad. That's all. And it has nothing to do with you and our relationship. There's sadness. There's a little bit of anger, and it will dissipate. I have complete compassion for what he was going through and for what he might still be going through and how he felt. I totally get it, which makes it fucking worse because I get it. I can't blame him and say there's anything, like, I get it. And it gives me compassion, but now it's time for me to be compassionate for myself. I spent a lot of years understanding and learning how to be the best, most compassionate person and partner for somebody else. And now it's my turn to be compassionate to myself.
You should be. You deserve it. And you deserve to have someone who understands you, who lets you share those feelings and share those emotions. And I thank God that's me. I really do.
I thank God that's you. I don't know there's anyone better suited. Just really, I mean, this is not a mistake, and this isn't luck. And I always want to say I feel so lucky because I feel like people want me to say that, like that's the right thing to say. Oh, you should feel lucky. No, I don't feel lucky. I fucking manifested you. I asked for this. I knew I was going to get it. I just didn't know it would be you. I knew I'd get it, and I got it.
You know, it's interesting. Some like tonight we were hanging out by the pool, and we were seeing all those guys in the hot tub. It just like the typical like sports jocks with the, I was going to say with the tattoos, but I have tattoos also, all of those guys that look with their wives in there. And I'm just thinking, I'm just not one of those guys. I'm just not. Now they may be sensitive guys too, but they're like, rah, talking about the game, talking about football. And all I'm thinking is I just want to stand in the pool here and just hold you and just listen to you talk about your old relationship and help you through it. don't understand those guys that are in the hot tub. I don't understand the camaraderie that's just not my thing. It's never been my thing. I don't know what my thing is. I don't know. I've always been an ultra sensitive, ultra emotional, probably more feminine than a guy should be kind of guy. But I'm not going to apologize for that. I feel like that's just me. I feel like there are benefits to those characteristics, and I'm okay with that. I've been that my entire life, and I feel like I'm best suited to be that guy in the middle of the pool while you're crying, for me to hold you and to tell you how much I love you, and for me to understand, and for me to say, I want you to have these feelings. I want you to share them. I'm the best suited for it. I may not be the greatest listener in the world, and I may not hear everything that you say, but I feel the emotion. And I truly feel like there is, at least from my perspective, that's what I bring to the table. I bring that.
And you do it perfectly. And your masculinity comes out in your skateboarding and your motorcycle riding and your dancing. It's very, I think dancing's very sexy and you're very good at it. And so I wouldn't, yes, you are probably a little more metro than not. And it's mostly because you haven't played any sports, but you're coordinated and you can. You just aren't built like that. So you've been more interested in music than you have been in sports. That's all. Your brother's interested in sports. But anyway, so back to just, I wanted to share that, people would think, oh, vacation. And it's like, and it is, but vacation's also a time, it's fun, but it's also a time to quiet down. We made a pact and an agreement to be disconnected. We have not had any technology on since Doug got here. I kept it on while he was in transit to make sure that I knew when he was arriving, because I got here a day earlier. But literally, the phone had
I don't even know where my phone is.
He doesn't even know where his phone is. The iPad has been on one time to make a reservation to a place we're going tomorrow, which I'm supposed to check and see if it's confirmed, but I'm not going to. We're just going to show up, and I'm going to assume that they're going to fit us in. And if not, then we'll figure it out. But I really...
Were you surprised? Were you at all surprised for a guy that's as connected as I am when I'm home? Have you been surprised that I haven't even? It's not even like.
No, because you agreed to it, and I think had you had resistance to it, you would have said to me, "Well, how about you would have negotiated a little bit more?" And
I didn't want to. I really think this is the best way to go. I think that total disconnect for a fucking week. I mean, it's like, what's the big deal? If my business cannot. That I have a staff of 8 other people. If my business can't survive without me for a week, and my partner, who is quite competent to handle it, if it can't survive for a week, then it's not a really viable business, then, is it?
Or you just have some problems you need to fix.
Right.
But it'll be a good test.
Right. Great test.
And but how
let's see what they can do on
right.
Maybe it'll be better. He'll go back and all these new things will have happened. I'm like, great.
We will see. But how many have you been shocked about how many people, couples especially, and parents who are on their phones here this week?
Yeah, there are a lot of people on their phones
all week.
Yeah, the entire week.
Right, and I had a friend recently go on a trip and see a post about that people are recognizing more and more when they go on certain trips where they have to do something and they can't be on their phones, that they really aren't present. And I'm like, good for you. And I'm like, yeah, about time. There's lots of us that aren't present. I know I'm not present with you when I'm so busy. And again, this is, as you will see,
it's why we're here.
That's why we're here. Because this is important. It's important for your relationship, for you to disconnect from your technology. Oh God, that was such a huge issue in my relationship. There was so much disconnection and I'm guilty of it too.
Wait, disconnect meaning you wouldn't disconnect or he wouldn't disconnect? He wouldn't disconnect from like his television,
right.
And his and
right.
you wouldn't disconnect from your email and technology, right?
But that's because there wasn't a common desire, or there wasn't a shared desire to connect with each other on a deeper level.
How was that not? I mean, and you've said this to me before. How was that not like an immediate warning when you said to me a couple of times, many times actually, that the first year of that relationship, you didn't even know he was a sports fan. And then the second year, it's like, holy shit, where did this sports guy come out?
Okay.
Why wasn't that like a signal to you to just like immediately like, hold on, dude, what happened?
It was. Our relationship wasn't perfect in the first couple of years. There was definitely a huge breakdown on year 2, but it's on year 2 of marriage. But But I didn't want to give up on some kind of commitment like that. And I wanted to learn. I wanted to learn where my stuff was. And I healed a lot of stuff through my marriage. Absolutely. I looked at him and thought, well, what can I do about this? And so I'd go work on my triggers of being wrong, triggers of being blamed, triggers of living with someone who was a victim. I went and did my own therapy on so that I would have more compassion and more love and not get, and not for me to get triggered. And for
But
me
it
to,
still requires a second participant in that.
No, not in me dealing with my triggers. No.
I know that, not you dealing with your triggers, but someone that changes. Like if someone is in our community and they're like in a relationship that said that hey, I don't know what happened after he said I do, all of a sudden the blowjob stopped. Everything stopped. The TV went on. Or whatever.
But I think that's more normal than not. I think people are on their best behavior until they get married or until they're in a relationship for a certain amount of time. And then I think they allow themselves to sort of revert back to their habits and patterns that they may have worked hard to hide. And all of a sudden now you're going, well, I didn't know this before. I think it's actually more common than not.
What I would encourage, if you're listening to this and you're involved in a relationship and that relationship is about to go to that next level, before you make the commitment to that next level, you have got to be you're not asking for them to do it because you can't demand anyone else's behavior. But in your own behavior, if you're not being fair to yourself by being your true self, if you're someone that likes to spend all day Saturday watching college football and Sunday watching the NFL, and you haven't done that because you've been courting this other person, you fucking better be real with that person. If you're not, they're going to see all of a sudden, what happened to my weekend? My weekends now go to college football and the NFL. What happened to my weekend? What happened to that quality time that we want to spend together? I'm telling you, if you're not being your true self, you're not being fair to the relationship. You're not even being fair to yourself because you're about to, a whole world of hurt is about to come down on you. If you change your behavior, you're no longer that person that wants to do the barbecues on Sunday evening because you're busy watching Sunday night football. I'm like, holy shit, you better have a serious check-in with yourself.
Well, I think that's one of the reasons that a lot of men, women think that men get divorced, like let's say around their 50s. Let's say in a relationship where it's one marriage and they're in between like 50 and 60 and they get divorced all of a sudden, or they come out of the closet and they're gay all of a sudden. I think a lot of women think that when that happens, that those men just want a younger model. Like it's about the physical appearance, and it's actually not. It's actually because those men are tired of living on someone else's rules and they want to be themselves and they've given enough and it's time for them to do what they want when they want. And they also want the respect and support of their partner. And a lot of times when women emotionally manipulate in marriages for so long, and men, when men, you do this is why it keeps happening, because you let it happen. You let a woman emotionally manipulate you, and then they think, well, anytime they want something, they can just throw a fit or get mad or threaten you or withhold sex or whatever. And then when you say no more, they don't have any other tools. They haven't learned how to be in any other way. And so it's just the stage of men at 50. You're moving into your king stage, and you just want to live the way you want to live and not make any excuses. You're done doing it for somebody else and not being true to yourself. And I would invite everybody, women and men, and women do it in their queen stage around 50 or 60 as well. I'd invite you all to put on your king and queen hats right now and not wait until you're at 50 and 60 to think, what do I really want? Because that's a midlife crisis, and it happens for men at 40. A lot of men at 40. But why don't you start living it now and really step into, what do I want for the long haul? Who do I want to be? That's on you. What kind of relationship do I want? What part do I play in that? And just do the best to keep checking in with being true to yourself. And I know that's why people leave their marriages at that stage, and then they are true to themselves. In fact, one of my closest friends...
That was my first marriage ending. I mean, I would have to say, because I did not feel like I was able to be me. I wasn't able to do... I wasn't in the relationship for the right reasons, and I wanted what I wanted. I didn't want to... I didn't want to be what she wanted me to be, and I didn't want to respond to all of her needs. I wanted to work through my needs.
You were the sole breadwinner. You were the sole supporter. You gave a lot to that relationship. I mean, in a old school, old fashioned kind of way.
Yep.
You were a really good provider, And, even talking about people leaving their marriages, one of my closest friends was gay and married for 12 years in a heterosexual marriage and did love his wife very much. And then but he knew when he was younger and throughout the marriage, he was probably gay, but he never went through any of that. He didn't experience anything. He had never had any kind of experience with another man. And then, but was very heavy. Not say very heavy. He was heavier than he is now. When I look back at pictures, I'm like, who the heck is? I would never have recognized him. But the minute and his wife knew, and that's why she left him. And then he had to deal with that. And then the minute he kind of stepped into being who he is supposed to be, he's super happy and vibrant and a different person. So if you can put your king and queen hat on now, the sooner you do it, the more true you are to yourself. The better I think your trajectory of relationships are going to be. Be authentic and know that you will trust that you, and I know why people do it. They do it because they feel like they're not going to get love otherwise. I have to turn myself into something you'll love so that you'll love me. But that's manipulation because they're actually not loving the real you because you've changed you. So try to make sure you guys all love you first. Hopefully you all have a copy of Fit to Love. It still works today. It still manifested Doug. It still keeps me authentic and growing and expanding and accepting myself on deeper levels all the time. And so, we're on vacation. And the bottom line, besides wanting to share sort of the breakthroughs, because I want you to hear it from firsthand and see if you can relate to it, is that we're taking time together to be with each other, to feel our feelings, to grow together, to let things unfold, and not just in the speed of rebound or go, 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 or do, or run away. We're present. We are clicked in and just honoring the time and space that we have together. And I think something like this is even when you come on vacation, get off your damn phones, disconnect, be with a person, be real, be in your body, and be with your feelings, because that is how you're going to know what your feelings are. It's how you're going to know how to be authentic and real with someone else. And
hey, because we recorded a show, do we get to write off the rest of this vacation? Actually, we already wrote it off because you're working.
Yeah, but anything you spend tomorrow, we can write it off.
Very true. This is good.
Tax deductible too. Would help if you had your own business or something that you did.
Start a podcast about relationships.
Or vacations, or relaxation, or stress management. So anyway, just always want to be real. It's a fun place to share what's going on. And I know some of you are listening, and I appreciate you writing in. And I know
Thanks for the fan mail, by the way. I had my first mention this week.
I know. He's been hearing me have it on Spirit, Purpose, and Energy, and all of a sudden he was included in fan mail that made a difference. So,
I've made it.
So if you listen to Women, Men, and Relationships and you haven't tuned into Spirit, Purpose, and Energy, we get even more real about the connection to Source, Creator, God, whatever, and Law of Attraction in everything we do. So I invite you to come over there. And then the last plug we'll make is for Doug's show.
Oh, I still have a show.
You do have a show without me.
The Nice Guys on Business, that show? Yeah. If you wanna get a dose of business advice, Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays, that is on the Nice Guys on Business. But if you just want to have a lot of great laughs, Tuesday and Thursday, my co-host and I, Strickland Bonner, we just shoot the shit. We have our fuckery episodes on Tuesday and Thursday. It's called The Nice Guys on Business, where at this point, almost 770 episodes in. About 2.5 million downloads, so we are doing something right. We just don't know what.
Yeah, I don't know what either. No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. You talk about me. That's what I'm kidding.
Very true. You were on the last episode, I think.
Was I? The one that I didn't hear because we're here?
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay, right. Exactly. Great. So I'll just have more to listen to next week. So thanks for tuning in. Please continue to write in. If you are a part of the tribe that wrote to my website, I apologize. I mentioned this on the other two shows. I checked a inbox that I don't check normally and saw all these emails. I apologize. They were not being forwarded. So if you want to get in touch, you can go to jjflizanes.com, fill out the contact form, download some free stuff. I got lots of free stuff. So be in touch if there's anything that touches you or that you want us to talk about, or you have questions, or you think you're in a similar place but we haven't talked about it yet. We're happy to listen and to respond. We love having this conversation with each other, and especially you. we'd have this conversation even if we weren't mic'd. But it's helpful when, as messengers, we can impact more people, inspire, educate, and motivate, and connect with you on a deeper level. That's what really moves us both.
You look pretty cute in that little white robe that you're wearing, the Beaches robe.
The Dreams robe that you have on too.
Oh, Beaches, Dreams. That's the one.
You don't even know where you are.
I don't even know where
It's
I
all right.
fucking am.
It's all right.
Where the hell are we?
So, from Cabo,
Love you.
buenas noches.
Buenos Aires.
Oh my God.
Buenas noches, everybody.